We're in the kitchen with Gigi. Good morning and welcome to my channel. I'm in the kitchen today, Sunday morning, and I usually meal prep on Sundays for the week. Since I'm back at work, I have to get my eating back together. I've been just really binging all summer long, but I'm back. So today I'm coming to you guys with cauliflower. You know, big balls, look like white cabbage, no, white broccoli. What I did was just chop it all up. I should have just showed the entire process, but it just hit me and said, let me just do a quick vlog of how I'm going to make cauliflower mac and cheese. This is the best mac and cheese, but using cauliflower instead of the noodles with all the carbs. This is very good for people that are watching your carb intake. So, and excuse my scarf on my head, I always cover my hair when I'm in the kitchen because the worst thing that you can find is food with hair in it. So welcome back to my channel. If you have not subscribed, please do so and hit that notification bell so that you can be in the know of whenever I download content, because I have lots of content right now that needs to be edited and downloaded, so you don't want to miss that. So thanks for showing up and watch me in the kitchen today. Okay, so first things first, you get your cauliflower, you chop it up into like little florets. And I might even break it down more because I don't like big chunks of food, because you're going to actually be chewing this and you don't want to be biting down to something hard. And then you get your bag, your Ziploc bag, and I put a base in here, olive oil, along with black pepper, salt, garlic powder, and onion powder. And I just put it in the bag, kind of mix it in there together. And now I'm going to take my cauliflower and toss it around in the bag so that I'm going to roast this in the oven. Okay, you see how I'm tossing this? Getting each floret nicely coated with the oil mixture. And so once I'm ready to put it in the oven, it won't be so like dry. This gives it some type of moisture. And just toss it around there so it's evenly coated. I think that's evenly coated. So now, also too, if you have some parchment paper, this is what I use to coat almost everything that I bake. You can't use wax paper because wax paper will burn in the oven. Parchment paper will not. So I just use wax paper to just like line my counters when I'm cutting veggies and things like that. So my food, I don't like food touching surfaces. I like everything to be protected in its own clean space. That's how I cook in my kitchen. Okay, so this non-stick parchment paper is very good in the oven. And I always line, this is a cookie sheet, by the way. It's used, you can tell it's used because it's black. I don't think I purchased it black, or maybe I did. But it's really a good cookie sheet. And I just line my cookie sheet with the parchment paper. And now I'm going to take my cauliflower and spread it evenly on the cookie sheet. All right. So it's evenly covered with the oil mixture, and there you go. And so I'm going to heat my oven. It's actually heating now to like 350. And once it's heated, I'm going to put it in the oven for like maybe 30 minutes or so. It might be longer, it might be shorter. Just depends on the texture that you want. I want it roasted so it can have like not be chewy, so it's going to be about 30-35 minutes. So I'll show you that part shortly. Okay, so now I'm about to take the prepared cauliflower and toss it in the oven at 375 degrees for like 35 or 40 minutes. And I kind of like to put stuff in the middle rack so it can just have even distribution. $3.75, 35 to 40 minutes. Okay guys, so here are the ingredients for the cauliflower mac. We have the cheeses, the olive oil, the kosher salt, the cream cheese, pepper, whipping cream. This is very major here. Hot sauce and butter. The oil was pan. So this is what I'm using to base the cauliflower for the mac. Okay guys, hi, welcome back to my channel. I'm continuing the recipe for the baked macaroni, well actually cauliflower mac and cheese. In lieu of the noodles, I've used cauliflower, roasted cauliflower, a much healthier version, and a more satisfying version. Who says that cauliflower has to be yucky? It's very good. Actually, last year, right before the pandemic or during the pandemic, like right around the time when Kobe Bryant died, I went on a keto type lifestyle way of eating. And it was just something to do because I like to like doctor up my meals and make stuff appealing. So I switched over from carbs and substituted for things that were fulfilling and satiated my appetite. I lost about 25 pounds without trying very hard. And this was without going to the gym or any of that stuff because, you know, everything was closed. And so I was doing little exercises around the house, but nothing like when I go to the gym to work out. So I'm telling you, I lost 25 pounds, close to 25 pounds, just by changing my diet and watching and making sure what I was eating. And I'll tell you, that keto diet works for me. And the food is very rich, very delicious, and people do not understand, how are you losing weight eating all that fat? Well, because you're taking all the carbs out, which is high in sugars. Sugars are poison to our systems and therefore blocks a lot of fat, stores up a lot of fat, should I say. And when you eliminate fat, your body has to metabolize the fat that you're putting in there that comes from eating the high fat type food, healthy fats, like your omega-3 fatty oils and your high fat dairy, things of that nature. Now, if you're a dairy person that can't tolerate it, there are substitutes for that, but that's another video. But anyway, let me get to this, what I'm doing here. Okay, so I'm about to make the sauce for the cauliflower mac and cheese. So first, what we have here is the whipping cream. This is like the base of it all. Whipping cream, you buy it at your grocery store, sitting right next to the milk. And then this calls for, let's see, where's my recipe? Because I don't remember these things in my head because I don't cook this every day. This calls for 1 cup. So you're gonna put a cup of, and it's coming out lumpy and clumpy because it's cream. Start with a cup of this whipping cream inside of your pan or your pot. And I'm turning the fire on now because this pot was warming up, but I didn't want it to get too hot because I didn't want it to be sticking. Let me get my wooden spoon, hold on. And it's a cute wooden spoon. I bought this from Epic Flavor. Yay, they have lots of good kitchen tools and they have the most bomb seasonings. Like my cupboards are filled with Epic Flavor, all natural seasoning. I don't buy that stuff from the store anymore. Epic Flavor it is. Yay, they have their own website. They're on Instagram, Epic Flavor. Hit that, they'll pop up. Okay, let's get back to what I'm doing here. Okay, so I'm stirring the whipped cream so it won't get stuck to the bottom of the pan. And while that's warming up, I'm gonna bring it to like a little lightweight simmer. And it's doing exactly that, it's simmering. You're gonna turn your fire on kind of like medium or almost low. High is like making it cook too quickly and it's gonna stick, because when you're dealing with a lot of cheeses, you don't want stuff to stick and burn. Because once you get that scorched taste, that ruins your meal. And let me tell you, it ruins your meal. Okay. And so while this is coming up on the simmer, it's like a little low-key boil. Turn it over so you guys can see how it's looking in there. So you see how it's looking. All right, so it's not sticking at all, but it is simmering because it's bubbling up on the sides here. Now you're gonna add the other cheeses. This recipe calls for 4 cups of sharp cheddar cheese, or any type of cheddar cheese you want. I'm gonna only use 2 because I'm just gonna use 2. I just don't want to go into a cheese coma this week. I've been trying to lay off a lot of cheeses and a lot of dairy products. And then calls for 2 cups of the mozzarella. And then I think I need cream cheese. And this cream cheese is from Philadelphia cream cheese. And the cream cheese, that's 6 ounces. Well, this bar is 8 ounces, but you know what? Who's gonna count? So this will be a little bit more, and it's okay because the recipe called for 4 cups when I only use 2 of the cheddar cheese, so we're good. So we're going to mix all the cheeses inside of the heavy whipping cream and bring it to a low simmer, a very low simmer, because cheese will stick. So, and you can hear it doing this little thing in here. And if you don't know, I cook with my head tied up. So this is my scarf. It's not my little cute wrap that I wear, my African stuff. No, this is like my head scarf that I sleep in at night, my silk scarf to keep my hair from, my edges from getting all traction with the pillowcase. But I cook with my head covered because I detest hair in food. Okay, so let's look at what it's doing here. You see how it's like sticking, gumming up? You just gotta keep stirring it, keep stirring it. So let me just turn this fire down just a tad because I don't want it to get too crazy. And so while the cheeses are melting, and what I usually like to do, I like to put a little bit more cream in there just to loosen it up some. So a lot of this will tell you exactly what you need to use, but use your own discretion. You know, if you like loose, tight, you know. This is a cheese sauce. And once all your cheeses are melted together, blended together nicely, like so, and then you're gonna turn the fire off because you don't want to cook the cheese, you just want to melt the cheese. Turn off the fire. Now, if you're using hot sauce, it's gonna give it a color. Just put a couple of dashes of hot sauce in there. Not onions, but pepper. I use my pepper mill for this. Or you can use ground pepper in the can. McCormick, I don't have my can nearby and probably put it back on the shelf. So put that, and then your kosher salt, okay? Give it a couple of shakes here. And I'll put the recipe, the exact recipe with everything that I use on my Instagram page. I have in my highlights keto meals, and I have several recipes there. I believe the recipe for this cauliflower mac is there. If not, it's nothing for me to post it there, or some kind of way to figure out how to post it on YouTube. I mean, I've not figured out how to do anything except for make these videos, thanks to my granddaughter. Okay, so here's our cheese sauce. So what are we gonna do with this? We're gonna fold in the cauliflower. What does that mean? It means that you're gonna get the cauliflower and dump it in here. So let me do that right now. Let me put the lid back on this because I don't want to make a mess. So here's the cauliflower that's been roasted from earlier today. Folding it in means that you're just going to put it inside of the pot of mixture, and this mixture is the cheese mixture. And folding it in is simply, once you get it in, you just take it and just stir it all in there together, and making sure all the cauliflower is covered nicely with the cheese sauce. Okay, there's that. Now, so here's how this looks. So I'm folding it in. I'm folding it in. I'm folding it in. I'm folding it in. But I'm gonna take this a step further. Once I fold it in, I'm going to chop up some red bell pepper to put it in here, because I love colored food with color. I love eating beautiful colors of food. So I'm gonna put that in there just for color and a little flavor too. I think the last time I made this, I put onions in it, chopped onions. So you can do whatever you want, whatever your taste buds like or call for, your family like, just do that. Okay, so let me just keep folding this, and I'm gonna come back with the chopped bell pepper. Okay, I'm back, and what I'm going to do now, I'm going to add, so this is the cauliflower folded into the cheese sauce. I'm going to add chopped red bell peppers and green onions, including the green part of the green onion, the white part and the green part. So I'm going to include that just to give it a little color and a little bit more flavor, because we are dealing with bland cauliflower, so you have to do a lot to wake it up. So I'm also folding that in as well. Okay, you see that? And so now this is ready to be poured inside of the baking pan. And the baking pan, it's just whatever you use to bake with, but you're going to coat the pan with butter. Okay, so I'm gonna do that off camera because we already know how to coat a pan. But I use butter to coat my pan. You can use olive oil to coat it, but coat it with something because you don't want your casserole to stick to the pan. That's all I'm trying to say here. So, okay, so here's the prepared pan with the butter that's coating the entire pan, bottom and sides. And now I'm just going to see if this is hot. Pour my mixture in. Gotta figure out a way to do it without doing a boo-boo. So get a good look at what I'm doing here. I'm just gonna put it all inside of the pan. Like I said before, you can season it how you want, but just make sure you have the basics in there, like your cream and your butters, not butters, your cheeses, cream cheese, so it can have that consistency of cheese sauce. And as you can see, I added green onions and red bell pepper for color. And now this is spread it out across the pan, eating it out, and it's ready for the oven. Okay, so the cauliflower mac is ready to go to the oven, but before the oven is preheated to 375, before I put it in the oven, I created a topping of olive oil, Parmesan cheese, and bacon bits. Or if you have bacon grounded, you can use that. But I just used what I had. And then you can also cut up green peppers and put them in here. But use this as your topping. So I'm gonna go across and layer it evenly across the casserole. An even layer, and just try to spread it with a fork. Like I said before, I didn't want to have too much cheese, but this olive oil and these bacon bits, or bacon rinds, or whatever you want to call them, just adds a little bit more of a crunchy topping for you if you like that type of thing. And so now I'm ready to put it in the oven. Okay, so this is what we're looking at. I'm gonna bake this in 375 for about 30 minutes, and I'm gonna check it to make sure it's not sticking, boiling over, whatever, and then we'll come back. Ooh, ooh, that smells good.
Look at there, look at there, look at there, baby. Smells good, looks good. I'm about to take it out of the oven and allow it to sit for a few minutes. Baked cauliflower cheese. Healthy version of mac and cheese. Yum, yum.
Hey, here's my cauliflower mac and cheese. Cauliflower cheese. Baked casserole topped with bacon and olive oil and Parmesan cheese. Yum, yum. So let's taste this masterpiece. So good. So good. Let's taste another piece of masterpiece. This is good.